What is going on, everybody?
Afternoon, everyone.
Welcome
I need
to
that
another
song for my
episode
gym
of
mix.
Monsters with Attitude. Our host is having computer difficulty right now, so he's rebooting. So,
of course he
Good.
is.
Good, because he hates the Monsterverse.
hopefully he doesn't hate it too bad. Hopefully he's a good guy about it this time. Maybe we'll change his mind. Who knows? Who knows?
We're gonna find out.
Adrian, when did you grow a beard?
I mean, I haven't cut it in like a few weeks or a month now.
You look good.
I need to comb it out, but thank you.
You look good. Put a little oil in it, make it all shiny.
You and oil. You and the beard oil.
I love beard oil. It makes you smell good.
Ready.
There he is. There he is. There's our host.
There we
All
are.
keep going.
Yay! We're all very excited to have him here. Yay!
Yes. I know everybody is so excited for MWA's voted most controversial to be hosting the show that he probably will be most controversial about. So
His ass beat the most about.
So everybody, it's a drinking game. Every time I say the word hate or dislike, you take a shot, and you're gonna have a great time.
Jesus.
Wow. We're all going to be dead.
We go get it.
It's a shame that I gave up drinking for a little while. Dang.
So what have I missed? I have to come in fashionably late.
Nothing.
Adrian's,
We just kind of jumped in.
Adrian's beard. Talk
Adrian's
about
beard
that
is
for a minute.
About it, really.
Yeah.
So yeah, we are fresh. You can do what you want.
All right.
Joe's greasy mop that he calls hair.
Yeah. Michael, you look very tan. Is it sunny by
Thank you. It's been pretty sunny here lately, Joe.
Is that the Playboy bunny on your hip? What's going on?
Oh my god.
You started it.
I know. It's my fault. It's all my fault.
And Elijah, for the record, if I go through with actually saying what I told Eric and Adrian that I was going to say about my least favorite episode, I will be the most controversial member of MWA.
You know what? That's a good challenge. Let's see who is more controversial.
No. How about we don't?
It's usually me that's throwing a fit on stream. I guess I'm gonna leave it up to you two this time.
No, it's not.
Well, that's because Michael, your opinions are always pretty basic.
Thank you, Elijah.
Hello, life is late. Is it lovely or lovely?
Life is lovely.
Lovely. Hello, life is lovely.
Blake Lively.
And then Jake Hambrick, what's going on?
Oh, Jake.
How are you, buddy?
Jake.
Oh, sure.
And of
Jake is
course,
new co-host.
Welcome in.
two of the
Nathaniel, hello.
two of the most reliable and ones that just are always here. Fancy the Cats and Nathaniel.
The fascist cat has arrived.
Dedication. That's never going to get old.
All right, Elijah, take it away, buddy.
All right, so we are covering Monarch Legacy of Monsters with Attitude, right? See what I did there?
Absolutely.
So before we really dive into our discussion, I feel like we should kind of get a roundtable of what everybody, like, their initial opinions when the show got announced and all that, like the road up to Monarch. What was that like for everybody?
I guess I'll go first. I was excited. I really was. Before the trailer hit and everything, I was like, okay, initially, I think a lot of people, there was a lot of controversy with the title and everything, and I think everybody expected one thing and got another. But I think I expected what the title said, and that's what I wanted, kind of thing. But I'll just say, before going, too much into it, I was excited. I wanted to see some more and hear some more backstory about Monarch, and yeah, I was pleasantly surprised. So
okay, I'll go next. I was also excited, but I tempered my expectations because knowing that it was going to be produced by Apple, which was a big deal, right? Which it was going to be on Apple TV, it was going to be an Apple TV exclusive. I knew going into it we were not going to get kaiju battle after kaiju battle after kaiju battle after kaiju battle. The people that got upset by not seeing that's silly, that's stupid, because you should have went in with tempered expectations anyway, considering, and I get it. What to Eric's point, Monarch Legacy of Monsters is a little bit of a misleading title, but once you get through the actual show itself all the way to the end, you kind of understand why it's called that. It's not about the monster fights. We'll get there, I'm sure, but it's not about the monster. It's not about the monster fights, but it's about the characters and the backstory that led up to and then post Godzilla's landing in 2014. So I was excited, but I tempered my expectations.
So real quick, Michael, to that point. Did you ever think about the idea that the term Legacy of Monsters is not in reference to kaiju, but it's a metaphor for humans being the real monsters?
I mean, I thought about it. I thought about it. I should say, no, I had no. Sorry, I mean,
monsters, man.
I hadn't thought about that, but that is a pretty good point.
Didn't Scooby-Doo say that?
What?
That people are the real monsters?
It's been said.
On every villain that gets unmasked is just some old guy at a theme park. So people are the real monsters. Scooby-Doo.
Anyway, moving on. Anyway, moving on. Who's next?
Okay, fine. I guess
Go ahead, Samson. Sorry.
I was intrigued when it was announced because the first that I heard of it was the fact that we were going to get Wyatt Russell and Kurt Russell starring in a Godzilla-related show, and it was like, "Whoa, that's a big name to be related to a Godzilla thing." It's. I mean, we have big names in the past now, thanks to the MonsterVerse with Bryan Cranston and Aaron Taylor Johnson, Elizabeth Olsen, and so on and so forth. But it was interesting. This was before we had any trailers or any know-how. We didn't know anything about the show other than it was going to take place around the 2014 timeline ish. So I was intrigued. I was looking forward to see what they could do with a TV series versus a movie. So that, I mean, we'd get more, of course, there's more story. And I knew that there was going to be more storytelling with the people aspect rather than the monsters. Yes, I did not expect, as Michael said, the giant showdown between monster after monster fight. And yeah, as we all know, we either were pleasantly surprised or were disappointed. And we'll get into who thinks what shortly.
Adrian, do you want to go, bud?
Go ahead, Jojo.
I was cautiously optimistic. It is everything that I kind of wanted in the MonsterVerse in general. I wanted that more grounded, feeling the repercussions of what would happen and how life would slowly change in some ways, but very fast changes in others. And so I liked that. I was excited. I was kind of hoping for that because that's actually something that I think that the MonsterVerse films after 2014 and Kong Skull Island have kind of not really touched on, is what like the real world ramifications would be of these things showing up. So I was cautiously optimistic. I was kind of hoping when I heard the rumors that it's going to follow Monarch. I was like, oh man, like maybe this is what we're going to get. And for the most part, it is what I wanted. There's definitely some things I would change, but I was excited.
Yeah, and to kind of piggyback off what Eric and Joe said, it's exactly what I wanted from this. From when this got announced, this is exactly what I wanted. Michael made a good point. Everyone who was really upset that we didn't get a whole lot of Godzilla, I don't know why we expected that because like Nathaniel said, Lord knows if it was Godzilla Legacy of Monsters, Lord have mercy. But this is exactly what I wanted. I did always want that backstory to Monarch, and that's what the MonsterVerse was kind of lacking before the show came out. So I'm really glad that we did get some more boots on the ground on what is Monarch, what does Monarch do, where did it come from, and the scenes that Godzilla was in it, they were all memorable. So I definitely enjoyed it.
Okay. So before we transition into the discourse with our questions, let's go back here and highlight some of these comments here. We've got Oscar, who was talking about how he was more hyped for the show than Skull Island, which I don't know about anybody else here in this chat, but I still haven't seen that show.
I've seen it. You ain't missing much.
No.
So wait, hold up. Is he talking about the animated, or is he talking about the upcoming?
The animated Skull Island show.
Okay. Well, I mean that's two different things.
Yeah, I don't think that's fair. One's an
That's not even a
animated
fair
cartoon.
comparison.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's like apples and pomegranates.
Yeah.
And then right below that, Nathaniel commented, I knew they wouldn't show much Godzilla, but what we did see was kaiju magic, which we will talk about the kaiju action. So that's actually a great little jump ahead there. And then do we really need to show Mr. Chambers on here?
Sure.
Yes, we do.
Wouldn't you know it?
Okay.
It's a paragraph, huh?
That's actually a really valid thing that he's saying, and I think it's smart that they named it Monarch and not Godzilla. I mean, they definitely they use Godzilla in the advertising to let you know, hey, it's him, but they didn't call it Godzilla, World of Monsters or whatever. It was Monarch, which I thought was smart, and that's why I had the expectations that I did first hearing about it, because it wasn't, it's a Godzilla show. It's a Monarch show featuring
Godzilla in it.
Yeah.
Now, this is where I'm gonna jump ahead here into the controversial opinions. I think Godzilla Singular Point is perfectly fine with its Godzilla usage. So I don't.
I do too. I have no beef with that whatsoever.
I don't either.
So, Leslie, it sounds like you're going to have to
My
fight a
only
couple of
complaint
us.
with Singular Point is the fact that they obviously used season 1 to build up a larger mythology and mythos that we probably will never see capitalized on.
Yeah.
That's my only problem, and that's honestly like my only problem with a lot of like movies and TV shows is that they hold so much back because we'll explore it in season 2, 4, 5, 10, whatever. But if it doesn't get picked up, and that's my only problem with Singular Point.
That's fair.
Yeah, exactly.
And then the last comment we'll highlight here is also from Leslie, and then we'll jump into our discussion here. This show was so well done, in my opinion. Kurt Russell and Marie Yamamoto are truly the shining stars. So we'll definitely be talking about Mr. Russell and all of our cast and crew as we jump in here. But starting the discourse, what is your guys' favorite episode and why? And let's go ahead and just do the rotation we did for that first question. So Eric, if you want to start us off.
Okay. So I know this is going to be like everybody's choice. It's going to the last episode was probably the best and everything, but I'm going to pivot on that just because I had a feeling that was going to be a lot of people's picks. And I'm actually going to go with episode 3, Secrets and Lies. I really thought that I'm going to rephrase it. I don't think it was my favorite, but I think it was the most important episode, I think. Just for the fact that that this is, we got this story about their dad. What is his name again? Help me.
Kentaro?
Hiroshi, thank you. So we got the story about, the dad and everything, about living 2 lives and our lives and everything, and 2 different families, all this stuff, and, thinking he's dead. So this is the episode that we first find out that instead of us believing that he was dead, that he actually might be alive. And I'm talking about when they went to Alaska and they had found the crashed plane, and then they found the camp and everything like that. So then they kind of had hope, that okay, maybe he is still lurking around and everything. Kind of gave you a different feel to it, because like now you're not expecting him to be dead and trying to figure out like what he was after. Now it's like, oh, where is he now and what is he doing, kind of thing. So it got me very intrigued by it. I was like, okay, this is interesting. But also too, on the flip side, for like the older, oh, someone's phone's going on. For the older characters or the older timeline, for Shaw, Bill, and Kiko, they actually first discover like the footprints from Godzilla, and they actually show that evidence to the general. Okay. So then the general is even intrigued and stuff like that. And then that brings us to them bringing the uranium to Bikini Atoll and everything, and Godzilla actually appearing in the show for the first time. I think that's a big thing. Plus, also, obviously, we're all Godzilla fans. We kind of all know kind of the backstory. Like, obviously, that whole setup is very, very important to the mythos of Godzilla. I mean, it's how he was created, with the bombs and the bomb testing in the Pacific and stuff like that. Like, that's a big deal. I think a lot of people, especially maybe newer fans, might not have realized that. But like, I think that was a great like homage to the creation of Godzilla and everything, and then them talking about the atomic tests in the Pacific and everything, and them actually seeing the Titans for the first time and them trying to kill it and everything is, and that kind of led up into 2014 and stuff like that. So I just think that whole episode was more important, I think, than anything.
So Eric stole mine. Thank you, Eric. Appreciate you. Yeah. But I do actually have an honorable mention, which is Terrifying Miracles. I believe that's episode 6. It's like episode 6. Which would be your second appearance of Godzilla. And it's also an important episode because they finally get to see that the father is alive. The guy that they've been, his name is escaping me. Sorry guys, but the guy that they've been searching for so long throughout this entire season, which we'll get to how they drop the ball on that in a little bit, but they finally get to see him off in the distance, and he's like, hey, and they think, oh, he's waving at us. No, he's not. He's telling us to go away because, well, it's like, well, there's something really big under the ground, and this is where we get to see. This is where we get to see Godzilla for the second time, emerging, and in his 2019 form. So apparently he literally took a dirt nap.
Yeah.
But I thought that episode is important just mainly because we finally get to see that the father is still alive, and then I was hoping that the story would build even further from there, which it kind of did, but then again it kind of didn't. So Secrets and Lies, and then Terrifying Miracles. If we're not going to go with the finale that everyone went gaga over, those 2 episodes for me, I think, are worth mentioning.
Absolutely.
I am a man of simple tastes, so I'm not going to even pretend that the last episode wasn't my favorite, mainly because of the fact that everything we got all our answers, got major Godzilla fightedness. Oh, by the way, everybody watching, spoiler alert, if we didn't actually say that yet, we're not holding back. We're talking about the entire show.
Yeah, we know that not everyone has access to Apple TV or wants access or whatever, so there will be spoilers. If you don't want to be spoiled, then you might want to move along.
Get the fuck out. So again, I'm not going to pretend the last episode wasn't. I know language. It's just we finally got all the answers that we've been itching for and wanting throughout the entire series, and it was finally unveiled, and we got the most action out of Godzilla. and it was all just it was so good, and it was fun just being able to finally know what this was all building towards. And I again, I don't have a very metaphorical great answer to it. It's just the last episode, because holy crap, there's everything laid out for you finally. Man of simple taste once more, ladies and gentlemen. Next.
Well, you guys kind of took mine, and since we're all in agreement that the last episode was the best, I'm gonna pick the penultimate episode, episode 9, which is Axis Mundi. I thought it was interesting because it showed a world. For those of you that aren't aware or whatever, where Godzilla fights the Ion Dragon at the end, that is not the Hollow Earth. That is Axis Mundi. And I think that was interesting that it was a world between the worlds, kind of like the mini Hollow Earth, or, the pit stop on the way to the Hollow Earth, if you will. I thought that was kind of cool because I think it opens up the lore even more to where it's okay, what's in Axis Mundi, what's in the Hollow Earth. I just thought that was really cool. Yep.
Absolutely.
Yeah, for me, I'm gonna agree with Eric and Michael. Probably Secrets and Lies is my favorite episode. We did have a lot of. I'm not gonna rehash everything they said, but we did have a lot of things going on. We did see Godzilla's first appearance in the show, which the way they show Godzilla appear was just absolutely stunning. I haven't seen that Godzilla look that good in forever. So I'm gonna keep it short. Secrets and Lies was definitely my favorite episode for sure.
Huh. Well, maybe my opinions will be the most controversial.
All right.
So I thought that the peak of the show was very, very, very early on, and that it never lived up to the hype that the first episode 1, Aftermath.
I knew you were gonna say that. I knew it.
Oh, I knew it.
First of all, John Goodman coming back to the MonsterVerse was a great moment.
Mm-hmm.
I agree.
Second of all, there's just something about the setting of the tone, establishing all the mysteries, and really and honestly, the first time truly linking Godzilla 2014 and Skull Island together was a very exciting and interesting moments to have. And while I will agree that the final 3 episodes are also really good, the first 3 I think were the best bunch of episodes. I think they set a tone. They were establishing a lot of interesting questions and a lot of exciting and intriguing rabbit holes to go into. And really explore. And then the last 3 episodes, I think, are a very fun science fiction trilogy of episodes that answer some of the questions we've got and try to tie it into the greater MonsterVerse that is your King of the Monsters, Godzilla vs. Kong, and Godzilla Kong: The New Empire. So for me, I love that first episode. I think that was probably the pinnacle Monarch episode. Nobody's going to kill me yet?
No.
I think Michael has to say something quick before I do, but
No, that's an opinion. That's a fair opinion.
Yeah,
that is a fair and valid opinion that I respect wholeheartedly.
I sense a level of sarcasm in your tone, Michael.
No.
What?
Well, then before I get murdered, I better get on to the next question, which will get me murdered. So this is where I probably should say goodbye, everybody, because here in about 2 minutes, about 5 minutes, you're gonna see that kind of tan man in the middle bottom of your screen jumping over into my camera and just clobbering me.
Strangling you, yeah.
I can't wait to see a fish just come out from the side. Just
Elijah, I just have 4 words for you, buddy. Elijah, hold my beer.
Oh God!
Oh shit, he's gonna do it.
Okay,
Please
so
don't.
this next question: what is your least favorite episode and why? Eric?
So I have to go with episode 4, Parallels and Interiors. To me, that whole episode is
Filler.
just a filler. Yeah, it really, like, wholeheartedly, like, just there just wasn't anything really going on in it. Yeah, they were trying to survive the attack from the Frost Vark and everything, but like nothing helped the story along in any real way or capacity. Kintaro found the other base with the radio to call help and found the shavings from his dad, but other than that, like, honestly, they could have bunched like how they kind of got out of there into the next episode, and we really didn't need that one. Like, if they would have done more in that episode to describe more or flush out more things, like, it would have been better. But yeah, it was just wholeheartedly just filler. And then, like, having the flashback of Kintaro and May meet for the first, I really don't care. Like, I really didn't care how they met with an art exhibit, which never later came, as to any importance in the series, with him being an artist or him trying to do his first show and everything, and then his dad not being there. Like, I mean, wasn't his dad ever there? Like, we didn't really need to see that. So yeah, the whole episode was just garbage.
It's complete. I wouldn't call it garbage, Eric. I would just say it was. There were parts of it that tried to set things up to build story that never got paid off, and it's kind of a shame that it's kind of a shame in my opinion that they may not even pay those things off in season 2. They're just going to neglect them altogether for the sake of moving the subplot now of Apex that along. We're probably going to see more Kong in season 2 if we get a season 2. Likely we'll get a season 2 because it was a pretty popular show on Apple TV. I don't see why they wouldn't renew it. I would say that episode 8. What is the name of that episode? Episode 8. Birthright. I would say Birthright was would be. I would consider that one a little bit more of a filler. Would be a filler episode too. That one didn't really intrigue me as much because it was just a lot of, Monarch. It was just a lot of like Monarch mumbo jumbo and it moved very slow too. Now, I get it. Not every episode can be like as fast paced or as interesting as, Terrifying Miracles or some of the other ones. And I guess Elijah hated my opinion so much that he left. That's cool. We don't need him. All right. Well, the real Monsterverse fans, I can't talk. Fuck. Will the real Monsterverse fans please stand up?
Elijah has a family emergency, so I'm gonna take over for the stream, and Eric or whoever.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. So I agree. Episode 4 and episode 8, I think they're pretty nonsense. I think you could do away with those, or they're maybe not do away with them, but they're just not my favorite. So.
Yeah. Samson?
Well, Eric stole. Y'all were pretty much all saying the same answer. The episode 4, just the flashback, getting introduced to May or Cora, whatever we're supposed to be calling her, and Kintaro's. It wasn't really that necessary. It was boring. It didn't. It was filler. It was filler and it was boring. What?
Nothing.
What's so funny, Eric?
Nothing.
Mhm.
You understand? Nothing. I just nothing. Oh no.
Repeat what you said, Samson. I'm sorry. Eric's being rude.
No. Clearly, what I said wasn't important. I don't need to say it again. No.
Oh, really? Please do, because we want to hear it.
Well, what I was saying was, yeah, y'all pretty much. Eric and Michael said the same thing that I was thinking. That episode 4, it was filler. It was boring. Being introduced to May and Kintaro's relationship in the past wasn't that necessary. We kind of already got a feeling of that when we first were introduced to her in her act. The first, which episode was she first introduced in? 2 or
Yeah, I think
second one. Just the fact that we kind of know. I mean, they have something going on between them anyway, and we got that vibe off of them to begin with. Did we really have to have an entire flashback to see the art exhibit and them drinking together and then them eventually sleeping together? And it wasn't. It was boring. It was boring. It was slow. It wasn't that necessary, and that is why I dislike it for sure. And we might all say the same damn thing because it's.
Oh no, I'm gonna say.
Oh God.
I just a little quick thing before.
Yeah, would you like to share with the class?
No. Just I agree. Like they tried to make this relationship with Kentaro and May a big thing, and then all of a sudden it just went away, and it was nothing. I was like, what? So yeah, there was no greater revelation with them getting back together or making nothing really happened between them throughout the entire series ever again.
Yeah,
I don't know.
And at some points, it honestly felt like May and the sister were gonna start.
Kate.
We're gonna start.
Didn't it? Oh,
I was like, Kate's a little promiscuous.
It's a little controversial.
Yeah.
Adrian, her girlfriend in the series, so.
I'm sorry, Jojo. What were you saying?
I was just asking if you wanted to go.
Your turn, bro.
See, I was gonna try and say episode 5, but the more y'all bring up episode 4, the more I keep thinking about it. It had to be episode 4. That was worse filler than filling Dragon Ball Z. Like, come on now.
Which episode did you say?
I said episode 4. I was gonna say episode 5, but it's definitely episode 4 for sure because that episode dragged. Like I think I forgot. I think that's the episode I started on when I started binging last night. Like, I just watched the series last night, so that episode dragged. I was like, oh my god, I got pushed through this episode. Jesus Christ! And there's this boring.
I like your commitment, Adrian.
By the way, bravo to you for doing that, man.
Yeah, that was fun.
Because they're not short episodes. They're not short episodes.
Mm-mm.
Well, so for my least favorite episode, where it could have gone, I agree. It's episode 4, but I think it's also tied with episode 5. The younger characters I thought were the weakest part of this show, and I felt like those 2 episodes were the ones that featured them the heaviest. So I severely detached with them. I did not get into the love stories or the love triangles and all of that. I thought it was pointless and added nothing to the story. But to be fair, I feel like that with most of today's love story. I don't care. Maybe it's because I'm older. Maybe it's I don't know why, but I don't care. It's not.
Joe just hates the youths.
I hate the youths. The youths.
I hate the youths.
Back in my day,
back in my day, we used to make fun of the youths.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So I just couldn't get into it. I didn't care. I understand that it was meant to establish these relationships with May and May. I have no desire or no connection with her. I felt like she was just there. I felt like what's the brother's name? May, Kate, and
Kentaro.
Kentaro.
I felt like Kate and Kentaro, like they at least had kind of like a reason to be involved. I just felt like the whole time May was just the third wheel, and and I don't know. It was the 2 episodes that featured them the most, and I thought that they were the weakest characters in the show. I don't care about their love lives. I don't care about, oh, I'm cheating on my girlfriend with this other girl. I don't care. I don't care about May and Kentaro. Nothing about it intrigues me. I didn't even feel sad when Kate's girlfriend died, like, because we didn't have, if Kate's girlfriend was in episode 1 and we actually had some time, and you were thinking, okay, she's excuse me, she's going to be a major character, and then she died somehow. Excuse me. Then I would feel like, oh man, that's sad. But like, there was nothing, like, to me, like, Kate didn't even feel bad that she died. She felt bad that she was cheating on her. Like, she felt guilty for that. I don't know. So I didn't like episodes 4 or 5, and that's the nicest, most PC way that I will say it.
Wait, did we actually know that her girlfriend died? I mean, she stayed behind at the school, right? Or do we know for certain that she was killed in the act?
Her girlfriend was on the bus.
Yeah,
I thought she didn't get on the bus with.
She didn't.
No, she was no, she didn't. But she got on. But her girlfriend got on a separate bus that went over the bridge.
Oh, okay. All right. I was like, wait a minute. She didn't get on. She didn't get on the bus. Okay.
No.
So.
Yeah, the love triangle, just everything. It was. You're right. The more that we talk, the younger characters were just not relatable or likable that much. Really, they were just
a great word. They were not likable at all. It was, in some aspects they got annoying, and 4 and 5 seemed to be the episodes where they were featured the most, and I don't care. Not like nothing about. We need to move on because I'm going to say something.
You're in control.
May all around, her character sucked. May was just, just the backstabbing and everything that she. Her character sucked.
Which oddly enough leads to our next question. Oddly enough.
Yeah. All right. So moving on, who is your guys' favorite character and why? We're going to change things up. Adrian, you've been going last, so why don't you go first?
Honestly, oddly enough, my favorite character was Billy. I really like Billy.
Who the hell's Billy?
Bill Randa.
Oh.
Bill Randa is a younger
William Randa to be more
the workaholics guy.
Yeah, but I actually really like Billy a lot. He had a really good spirit about him. He was a good human being, and he was really he was 1/3 of the start of Monarch. I really did like how they followed his story and everything. And really, his story arc was probably my favorite part of the show. Honestly, I'll go with Billy.
And then he died.
Yeah, fuck yourself, Samson.
Well, he died proving his point. Really, I mean, that's kind of
true.
Yeah,
I mean, he didn't want to be called a crackpot and thinking he was crazy.
A what?
A crackpot.
Crackpot.
And so.
Michael, what'd you think?
What was the question?
Who's your favorite character and why?
I was distracted by your beard, which is glorious in all of its ways, Joe. Shit.
When are you going to grow one?
When you at the same time you grow hair on your balls, Samson. So my favorite characters were Lee. Well, my favorite character was Lee Shaw. I think both young and old Lee Shaw, primarily young Lee Shaw, was my favorite character, honestly. Because I'm with you, Joe. I did not necessarily identify or get on with the younger characters like Kate and May and the rest of them. I just could not. I just don't think, like, I know why they're there. They're necessary to kind of give the context for the modern day. But I really enjoyed the older characters more, because to me they felt more interesting than some of the others, than some of the younger characters that we got. And I have to agree with Nathan. Kate is beautiful, so that did help some.
Mm-hmm. Can't lie on that.
Samson.
Michael stole my answer. Yeah, specifically, I like the younger Lee Shaw character because seeing how he developed throughout the series from just being like a military escort to getting super involved in the Monarch and becoming one of the original creators of Monarch. It was interesting to see his character develop over time. And of course, we got to love Kurt Russell, but I like Wyatt Russell's young character more and seeing his relationships develop between Billy and God, what was the name of the woman?
Kiko.
What was her name?
Kiko.
Kiko.
Young, yeah. So watching that develop and him becoming more than just a military escort, it was really intriguing to see that and him be more involved as he was. And yeah, words. That's the answer.
Eric.
Oh man, see, I was gonna pivot because I thought everybody was gonna pick Lee Shaw and everything because obviously Kurt Russell and everything, but
Because he was the best, let's be honest.
He was yeah.
one of the best. I'll do a tie here. Like I really like Kiko. I really did. I thought she probably gave the best acting performance out of everybody.
Oh, that the episode where they bombed Godzilla. Yeah.
Oh,
yeah, that's one of them. Even the
oh
end
my god,
when she gets to finally see Lee after how many years, by seeing her son, Hiroshi. I mean, all of that was super emotional, dude. Like she gave a great performance and like the sense
drove it
of
home.
like in non-belief and sadness and just all the emotions like just came out like that. Oh my god, like very strong stuff from her. I loved it. But I do also want to give an honorable mention to Tim. Like I actually really liked him. He was different. I really thought he was kind of a douchebag at first. I thought he was one of like the evil lackeys and everything, and really like it was none of that. He was just kind of trying to help out and make things right and everything, and then help the kids out and stuff like that. So, but yeah, I'll say Kiko.
Mine's gonna be Lee Shaw for both young and old, but more so Kurt Russell. I'm such a fan of Kurt Russell. He's such a badass. And yeah, I mean, he was just the coolest. There's not much else to say. I will agree with Eric though. Tim, he grew on me big time. At first, I was kind of annoyed with him, but by the end of the show, he grew on me the most out of all the characters. But I started off liking Kurt Russell just because I'm such a fan of Kurt Russell. So, but yeah. So, anything else before we move on, boys?
One thing that I liked a lot. Me and my mom binge watched it together, so she has opinions, but she's not around. I think that Wyatt Russell did a good job kind of channeling his father. Like he did a little bit of that. You know how Kurt Russell has a little bit of that John Wayne-ness behind his voice. I think that his son kind of channeled that a bit more too. Like that. Oh yeah, Pilgrim, like the Big Trouble in Little China, Kurt Russell. But he did a good job kind of channeling his dad's voice, and that really, I mean, they brought it home with the casting between those two. There's that one shot in particular where they like fade from future to past or past to future, and it's like the son's face perfectly over his father's, and how they transition that. That's good casting right there.
Before we move on, I just want to Leslie, yeah. So yeah, like Kiko was like before Serizawa, which I'm very curious on where Serizawa comes into play with Kiko around.
Yeah, for sure.
Like, because
his name was mentioned once, right?
She comes back in 2015, so she's in their current time. Serizawa's got to be around in Monarch somewhere.
Yeah, he's somewhere around, I'm sure.
So I'm
technically it's 2017 because they were down there. Well, the main characters were down there for 2 years.
Yeah, by the end of the show, yeah, in 2017 by then. Yeah,
by the end of the show, so it was 2017 by the end of the show. But yeah, exactly.
Yeah, even my opinion is even more valid now. Like he's around because he was around in 2014. So,
but remember though, we did end the show with Apex. So eventually we'll probably see Cerzal. It's probably just we'll see when we'll see when we see him.
Sure, that's true.
All right. Moving on. What is your favorite new kaiju, big or small, from the show? Michael, you can go first.
I don't know I can't remember what it's called, so forgive me. But the star face mole, I like that one a lot.
The big mole, the big ice mole.
It's called the Frost Bark.
The Frost Vark. I just think it was just a really cool looking kaiju. It's different. We don't get a lot of mammalian kaiju. I mean, we get birds and dragons and like all kinds of like the usual shit. Like with the Ion Dragon is cool. I get that. Whatever. It's like the big bad at the end, yada yada. But I really like the Frostvark because like I said, you don't get a lot of like mammalian kaiju in the MonsterVerse. It's all like lizards and monkeys and just the usual stuff.
Bugs.
Yeah.
Samson.
Well, you stole my answer once more. Yeah, I liked the Frost Bark. It was the very. What was like his base? He was like a pangolin. That's kind of what he looked like a mole / pangolin. You know what I'm talking about?
Yeah.
And his ability. I was a little confused about his ability sucking up fire. Like what exactly that was doing for him. Why he was doing that? Is that to stay alive? Or what was his superpower by them? But yeah, him chasing the characters around and just being able to pop up at any moment, and his design, it kind of gave off a little bit of Pacific Rim with his blue tendril things for his mouth and everything. And it not being the biggest kaiju on Earth wasn't a big deal. It was more threatening since it was a little more down to earth, chasing after the characters. So I agree. I do like that one. If I'm not going to say the dragon, what Ion Dragon? I don't know any of the kaiju names.
Dragon, yeah.
It's easy to say.
Oh, sorry.
Yeah. No, you're fine. No, that's it.
Are you done?
Yes, I said I'm good.
Okay, sorry. Go ahead, Adrian.
I actually was gonna say the Frostvark 2, but I think I'm gonna take a little bit of a right turn. I'm gonna go with the first kaiju they ran into on the ship before they found Godzilla. Whatever that kaiju's name was. Kind of like a dragon. I really thought that looked really cool.
That was the Ion Dragon.
That was the Ion
Dragon. It's a younger version of it. Just a younger version. But yeah. It's just a smaller. It hasn't spent enough time in the between world to grow up.
Yeah. So really, whenever he was first shown and everything, that scene was pretty intense. And honestly, I thought one of them was gonna. Well, Anthony's gonna die, but that was a pretty intense scene with him in it. So I'll go with him actually.
Eric.
Yeah, I'm gonna go with the Ion Dragon. Just for the sheer
cop out.
Just for the sheer fact that not just because it is the last villain that Godzilla fights, it's the biggest, whatever. It's because of what the Ion Dragon should have been. If you did not know or do not know, according to the co-creator of the show, the Ion Dragon was actually supposed to be Gauss.
Oh, okay.
Oh,
but they could not get Legendary
licensing?
And Katakawa could not get the licensing hashed out in time for the show.
Damn it!
So they couldn't do
Damn
it.
it!
So realistically, that could have been Gauss, and that's why I love the Ion Dragon, because that means that Legendary is talking to Katakawa, which means that they could bring these other crazy kaiju into this universe, and holy shit.
Godzilla versus Gamera.
Yeah.
About that, Michael.
Yeah.
My answer is
My apologies to you, Eric. I'm so sorry.
I feel the sincerity. Sorry, Joe. Go ahead.
No, you're good. You're good. You're good. My answer is also the Ion Dragon for the exact same reasons that Eric said. However, that co-creator, his name is Tim Scotsword, came out and said that that interview was a joke, that it was never supposed to be Gauss. It was originally supposed to be Batra. I'm just kidding. I have no idea. But
You son of a.
that wasn't.
I heard that. I saw that thing, the interview or whatever. And that's really cool about the Gauss. But even if it wasn't Gauss, I just thought the Iron Dragon looked the coolest. But I'm a fan of dragons, so be it.
Plus, too, like, it's different to see Godzilla fight a flying foe.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like it's just like, yeah, they have some, but like it's not always. Like it obviously doesn't look the best in the Japanese versions because it's, you know, the puppets and everything. And like, yeah, we got a little bit of the male Muto in 2014, but like a little bit of Ghidorah, but like exclusively flying around him and everything. It was different. It was cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, but even Ghidorah stayed grounded the whole time, except
that's true.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if this is ever going to be brought up, because I was talking about the in-between world during Adrian's answer about the thing growing up. Did anybody ever take this into account, that the reason why Godzilla developed in such a fast manner with his dorsal plates was because of how time is different down there, and that's why between 2014 and this show, so it's 1 year later, his dorsal plates turn into the 2019 look. Because time passes so fast down, or what is it, fast or slow? But that's why he is like in just 1 year he looks as drastically different as he does between the two, the suits.
Yeah.
If that were the case, that totally just busts. What is it? Aftermath? Is it Aftermath where he fights the Queen Mood? He fights the Muto Prime, and his dorsal plates get damaged, and so they have to reform themselves into the what.
Okay. See, I didn't know that. Okay.
So that would if that were the case, that would destroy that part of the history or that part of the continuity.
The continuity.
But I don't think that this show follows that continuity either. So I'm a little confused.
No, they threw out all the graphic novels. They're no longer in continuity. But I want to highlight Leslie's comment, because that was one of my favorite lines from the show, is when Lee Shaw says, "Do you ever think about what would have happened if Godzilla lost in 2014?"
Yep.
True.
Which is like his motivations for closing these holes. And even though he knows the risks of, I might be making the other ones bigger and a bigger Titan can come through, but if I can close them all, like, what happened? I like that. I thought that was cool. So, all right. So the next two questions, I'm going to kind of combine them because I feel like you can answer them at the same time. Eric?
We going to let him back in?
What?
Elijah's back.
He's back?
Oh,
I don't
he's
know.
back. Okay.
I don't know what to do.
There he is.
Hi.
Back, Elijah.
Welcome
Thank
back.
you.
Elijah, we are on What Did the Show Do Right? What did the show do wrong?
Okay. My StreamYard's broken, so I can't actually see how I look. So hopefully everything is fine.
You look.
You look as
Your hair's
funky.
Your hair kind of looks like. Have you ever seen something about Mary? You ever seen that movie?
Hold on. Let me look this up real quick.
No, just
No, don't. Just later.
It's
Later.
Blood juice in your hair, Elijah.
Yeah, I was gonna say later when you.
Michael, you.
yeah.
I'm gonna jump through this camera and clobber you. So real quick, just to anger everybody now that I'm back, I'm gonna do a lightning round. The worst episode of the show is episode 5, The Way Out.
Why is that?
It's boring. It has no point of being there. It adds nothing to anything.
I said the same thing, Elijah.
Good. Thank you.
Some of us actually, we bounce between 4 and 5. A lot of us said that.
Yeah.
And I held back due to the consensus of the group.
Thank you.
And Michael, what was your least favorite?
Episode 4 and episode 5.
4.
Oh, okay.
Or
So we
episode
actually
8.
agree.
Episode 8 and episode
8?
4.
Oh, you're weird.
Yeah,
Favorite character? We all know who's the best character in this show.
Lee Shaw.
We all know. It's Tim.
Yeah, let's talk.
That was like an honorable mention.
That was an honorable mention by me.
Yeah.
Tim is- so I watched Monarch with my co-host of my podcast, Rex, and he came to the conclusion that if you look at how Tim acts and everything Tim does, it would be exactly what I would do. And Tim is basically me in the Monsterverse. And you know what? He might be kind of right, and I hate him for that. The favorite monster, I'm going to be honest, every monster in this show was awful. So I'm going to go with Mantleclaw because John Goodman was there.
Okay.
Why do you-
Ion Dragon's stupid.
Your
Frost
face
Buck-
is stupid.
It's
Well,
such a
well,
lame design.
I said something when I said mine. So I picked the Iron Dragon, but that's because of what he could have been. Did you hear of what he could have been instead of the Iron Dragon?
Tell me what he could have been.
So according to the co-creator, that was actually supposed to be Gauss.
Oh.
Yeah, but they
It's right.
the licensing didn't get done between Legendary and Katakawa, so they couldn't do it.
I see.
So
Huh.
that's the only reason why I went with it.
Frostbark is a stupid name, and he's really the only creature that does anything in the show, and he's just kind of there. The wart, the Hollow Earth wart, the animal thingy is just kind of there. The bugs are just kind of there, and then the Starship Trooper wannabe creature is there for about 35 seconds.
I'm
Now
not
we
disputing.
slandering Starship Troopers. What's wrong with you? Great movie.
Hey, I'm not saying Starship Troopers is bad. I'm saying that Monarch could do better
Good.
than just being a Starship Troopers wannabe. And my favorite moment in the show was in episode 2, where we found the hidden message on how Monarch got its name. Did anybody else catch that?
Mhm. Enlighten us.
Apparently
Remind
not.
us.
Okay.
Yeah.
So John Goodman was born in Missouri. In the show, Bill Randa was on the Lawton, and he goes to the Lawton and he gets his lucky hat. His lucky hat says Monarch on it. Monarch was the baseball team for Kansas City, Missouri, before it
Yep.
became the Royals. So Bill Randa, who created Monarch, got the name from the baseball team, the Monarchs, that were based in Kansas City. It's all linked to John Goodman being born in Missouri. So that's one of my favorite things. I think that's the coolest piece of lore in the entire show.
Nice.
No, that is an
And-
interesting bit. Right.
And so now to get back to where Joe was, we're going to combine these two questions. So it'll be a long-winded answer, but let's hear it. What did the show do right, and what did the show do wrong?
Samson goes first.
Oh fuck.
It'll be all right.
You always got to choose the dumbest guy to answer the question that's really like deep.
We always
Okay,
complain
what-
someone's taking your answer, so
Give me the idiot guy questions for me to answer first. I think that getting the backstory behind Monarch and being emotionally driven and giving us a lot. I liked how the direction that they went into, because between 2014 and all the other shows, there isn't really much that we know about Monarch and its beginning, other than just that it's like a CIA of monsters and parallel kind of X-Files like stuff. So it was good to be able to dive into the past and get a backstory and finally get an answer for where Monarch started and where it came from. We kind of answered this in a way earlier. What they did wrong, just relationships, all this lovey-dovey, just all the relationships between characters and the love connections and interests and just all it was boring and just filler crap and just not. I didn't care for it. It drew out some of the episodes a bit more, and I guess that's all I have. That's all I got.
Okay.
I'm gonna y'all talk.
Who's next?
Who's next?
I'll go.
I can go next.
You're the
Okay,
host.
go ahead, Adrian.
Who's next?
So, what
Everybody's
like I mentioned earlier, what I think they did right was they really did do a good job with storytelling with it with Monarch. It's exactly what I expected when the show got announced, and it's exactly what we got. I do like all the backstory and a little bit of lore we did get with Monarch because that is something that we have been lacking from the Monsterverse. I think they did that really well. And the thing that they didn't do well, which I just complained earlier that people shouldn't have expected it in the show, but I feel like there should have been a little bit more kaiju on kaiju action. Not a whole lot more, but just maybe like in between episodes 4 and 5, we had all that filler relationship bull jive. We could have got a little monster fight in there somewhere. Not even necessarily Godzilla. Just some a little bit more Titan on Titan action. But does it ruin the show for me? No, but that is something that I think they could have done a little bit better, honestly.
Okay, I guess I'll go.
Go ahead, Eric.
Elijah, you're the host. Pick who's next.
I'm gonna pick Eric.
Oh, thank you.
Good choice. Solid choice.
The show that what they did right with the show, like we stated before, just the developing of Monarch, the realization of the organization, the backstory, kind of how it got funded by the military and everything, kind of how it came to light and everything, some of the struggles that they kind of dealt with into trying to actually making it legit. All of that was great. I like that they focused a lot of the science aspect instead of the fantasy. Like the Titans are all good and everything, and yeah, that's literally why Monarch is formed and everything. But like, how do we get there? Like, what are they doing? Like the apparatus that Japanese friend of Kiko's makes that basically calls Titans. Like that was cool. Like he just made that out of scrap, that kind of stuff, and just trying to describe a lot of these things to make sense was really, really great. And just kind of make it more believable, instead of just always fantasy. Because I mean, these are kaiju movies, monster movies. They kind of can get outlandish and whatnot, and it kind of grounded it a little bit more. And then of course the great characters. Like I know we've probably said this before. One of you guys have said it. Like finally getting actual good human characters and MonsterVerse related movie, show, whatever. Like finally, like all the other characters in every movie suck. They're not very good. They're not very well developed and everything. This show, these characters are like, minus the young ones. Yeah, I mean, even they are better than what we've gotten so far. But like the past characters are definitely the strongest so far. And then I'll end with the stuff that they got wrong. Definitely the pacing of a couple of the episodes, like we talked about the fillers and stuff like that, could have been done a little bit better. And my biggest gripe is the whole reasoning behind Hiroshi's decision of doing what he's doing was complete dog crap. They built up his story so good, and you wanted to know why he was doing this, where he was going, all of this stuff. And for what? A lackluster reason? Like, to me, they dropped the ball on it, and I just wish they would have finished that part of the story way better than what we got.
Yeah.
And then, Joe, do you want to go next?
Yeah. Like I said at the beginning of the stream, I like the fact that we were seeing how the real world was changing due to the appearance of Godzilla and the Mutos, and the discovery of these Titans, and that there isn't just one or two of them. There's there's 5, and then there's 10, and then there's a dozen, and so on and so forth. Like, I like that. What it also got right, and what it also got right and wrong, in my opinion, equally, are the characters. As much as I liked the older characters of set 50s and 60s and whatnot, I despised the younger ones. I thought they were, for the most part, and most of their scenes were added in just to have them, and it didn't resonate with me. I didn't like them. I do agree. I think that there should have been a little bit more kaiju fighting. Not a lot, because I understand that that's not what this show was supposed to be about. But I think maybe like the final fight maybe could have been a little longer, or we could have gotten another little skirmish here or there throughout other episodes. And again, it didn't have to involve Godzilla. I believe Adrian said that. It could have been the Frostvark versus Pikachu. I don't know, something. But yeah, so yeah, that's my answer.
Okay, and then I don't want to hear it.
Okay, that's fine. You don't have to. It's fine, but I'm gonna tell you anyway. You don't have to listen. It's fine. We can still be friends, even though you're wrong. I think what the show got right was it did build off of the lore, and it gave us more context to what the events of 2014 and beyond. It gave us more context to Monarch. It told that story, I thought, very well. I'm with Joe and a lot of you guys. I didn't care for the younger characters. I cared more about the older characters, the original people that helped build Monarch, not necessarily the people that in the modern day carrying Monarch onward.
Michael, what's the thing you kept saying the show was to what?
The show was to
it was like a word you kept using to describe it. I don't know.
I don't remember. I don't remember, Joe. To be honest with you, I don't know if you're trying to trap me, if you're being legitimate. Anyway, so I think that the show dropped the ball by just kind of pushing the whole I'm the dad storyline to the side a little bit more. That could have been. I feel like that started off as the most interesting part of the show, and they just kind of let it go in favor of what was the I forget. I'm so sorry. What was Kurt Russell's partner, the female lead, the older female lead?
Oh,
Yeah,
Kiko. In favor of finding her. I just feel like they dropped the ball with the whole dad storyline. I do wish that the show had more, not kaiju fights, because I don't think every episode needed a kaiju fight or whatever.
yeah, no,
I think it needed more human kaiju interaction, even if it was small. Even if it was small, like Kate and the boar, the whole team in the Frostvark, that was great. I wish that there, even if it was small stuff. They'd be walking around the in-between area, the in-between the Hollow Earth, and just a weird ass looking bug walks by or something like that. I don't know, just to kind of give context as, this is not their world this is not their world anymore. This world belongs to other creatures now. I wish the show would have done that a little bit more. Overall, I was happy with it. I think I went into it expecting very limited amounts of Godzilla, very limited amounts of kaiju. In fact, I got what I expected. We got a decent story and a decent backstory to Monarch, and leading up to the events now of 2021, or with Apex and all that going on. That was super interesting. Yeah, that's really kind of all I had. Just kind of, I feel like I'm rambling now and just repeating what everybody else has said.
So I'm gonna jump in here and say that I think the thing that the show did right was not having the kaiju be in the show nearly as much. I I think so. Okay, I'm going to relate this back to another tie-in television show that is kind of, in a way, I think what kind of started the whole idea of TV spin-offs of a organization of a greater universe, and that's Agents of Shield.
Yeah.
In that show, until like season 4, for the most part, they didn't try to have superheroes.
Yep.
They had people with powers, of course, but for
Mhm.
the most part, they never really crossed over with superheroes.
Right.
On occasion, you would get a couple like cameos and appearances. You know, Samuel L. Jackson as Nick Fury would show up in a handful of episodes. But I think the idea of this show mostly was focused on Monarch and the legacy of monsters. I think is a very interesting and nice way to approach it.
Yeah.
However, that does transition into my biggest problem with the show, which is the fact that they did not take enough time to flesh out each character. The amount of questions left at the end of the show was a lot. You never got to see Kate's and May's relationship, whatever that was alluding to be. You never saw what that ended up being. You never saw what Kentaro and May's.
What that ended up being?
Huh?
Does anybody care what that ended up being?
I mean, I care.
Okay.
I would like to see what happened there. I would like to see what would happen with Kentaro and May. I would have loved to have seen everything Hiroshi was doing. And there's a lot it just left. Like, why did Apex suddenly become Monarch 2.0? And why is what's the context behind that? And there's just so many questions about the human characters and their interactions that I really wish we would have gotten more of that. Instead, it really feels like once we hit, the axis point, everything else didn't matter. Once Lee Shaw went off escapading around the world, nothing else mattered. And they were trying to keep it in the family. It was a family business, right? Like, that was something they said a lot in the show, was it's all about family. So at the end of the day, Monarch is about a core story about family. When you start escapading around the globe and not addressing the family aspect, you lose that, and it no longer becomes about family.
It's about family.
I was about to say, quote Fast and Furious, nothing stronger than family.
Nothing stronger than family.
So
God, it doesn't matter because nothing's stronger than family.
That would have been my biggest complaints. But with all of our complaints and praises, it did leave. The show ended on a ambiguous ending that could return for a second season, and we know for a fact that a second season is in pre-production. They have writers. They are working on a script. However, nothing has been officially announced. It could very well just never materialize and nothing ever happen. But season 2 of Monarch is something in the cards. So, what would you like to see in a season 2 of Monarch Legacy of Monsters?
Oh, actually, I wanted to, because I knew I was going to come up with something. The other thing that they did right, the special effects weren't bad. It wasn't garbage. It wasn't like, oh my God, for a TV series, it didn't look terrible, because, sometimes TV series, they can drop the ball when it comes to special effects when they try to build a TV show off of popular movies. I didn't find that one shot in particular was when Godzilla woke in the desert and just his eyeball and looking at Kate. That was impressive looking. I thought that, I was like, damn, they did a good job.
Yeah, I agree with that assumption. Like I mentioned earlier with the beach scene, I ain't seen 2014 ever looked that good. We ain't never seen him in the clear daylight like that.
I was say, shit, you could actually see him.
Yeah,
That never happens.
even the scene where he swallows the he swallows the what's that thing that they were using to
The gamma
the
the kaiju telephone.
The kaiju telephone. Yeah, let's call it the kaiju telephone because that's
Yeah.
That's what it was. That's what they kind of.
I can't remember what the hell it was called. So there we go. The kaiju telephone, where he's in
it was a gamma emitter, is what they kind of. It was like it emitted gamma like a mimicked gamma radiation signals. It was
where he drags that down, because I honestly didn't expect that to be Godzilla. I expected it to be like a giant octopus or something that. I expected that to be something else, but when he just kind of pops up out of the water, I think like he looks good there. Like he looks really good, and he looks good at Castle Bravo. Like the CGI is not terrible, Elijah. The CGI is not terrible in this.
When did I say that?
You told us that weeks ago that you didn't like the CGI.
Yeah, there's some pretty shoddy CGI early on.
You're out of your fucking mind. You just have a hard on for anything MonsterVerse.
I have been talking positive here.
Yeah, through gritted.
Well, you shit on my answer, so yeah, okay, cool, thanks.
I think I'm just gonna. I'm just gonna go. I'm just gonna go before this devolves into a pissing contest. Season 2. I want to know what happens to the freaking Iwis. Like, I want to know what happens to the freaking Iwis in season 2. I want them to show.
They're dead.
I know they're dead, Elijah, but I want them. But that's good. This is gonna sound terrible. I want to see them die. I want to see them like. I want to see how they die. Jesus. Like, I want more. If they're gonna bring Kong in for season 2, and because that's what they're alluding to, if we're gonna see more Kong in season 2, I want to know. I want to see more of that backstory. What happened between the 70s up to 2017, or up to the modern day? I want to see all that. I want to see what happened to the Iwis. I want to see what happened to all of it. Because if they're gonna throw out the comics and everything else, then I want to see what happened on Skull Island.
So what I'm hearing is, and Michael, let me just make sure that I understand for the record.
Oh boy.
You want to watch genocide occur in your entertainment.
You know what? If it gives me context to the fucking story, Elijah, sure. Bring it on. Sure. If you want to play that game, sure, yeah.
Okay, I just wanted on the record, just to know.
It's on the record now. Yes.
Okay.
Who
wants to follow up with
I'll
that?
go next. On that note, I'll go next because we do end the show. We do end Monarch on Skull Island. So Michael has a point. What does happen to the Iwis? When does the storm happen? Because the storm hasn't happened yet at the end of Monarch. So I'm trying to see when's that going to start. And are we going to explore Skull Island a little bit on season 2? Let's explore Skull Island a little bit more, since that's where Billy was when he died. Maybe even Kiko wants to go to Skull Island to go investigate to see exactly, oh, well, if my husband died, let me see what he saw here. Maybe we'll get a little bit more backstory with Skull Island next season. That's what I would love to see. If we're gonna tease Kong, just give us Skull Island.
Okay, since Elijah's not picking, I'll go. Jeez. I actually talked about this with you guys off stream before, but what I would love to see for the future of the show is, since season 1 was kind of the before 2014 as well as directly after 2014, I think season 2 can also show the back in the day, but it can also show the back in the day of Skull Island as well. And season 2 can be the lead in to King of the Monsters. You can have Kong in it still by having it take place on Skull Island with the Iwis and whatever. And so season 1 was the before 2014 and immediately after. Season 2 can be the events leading up to 2019, the events of the film King of the Monsters, and then season 3 can be the after effects or aftermath of King of the Monsters leading into Godzilla vs Kong. Season 4 can be the after, you know what I mean? Each season can kind of build into the next MonsterVerse film, and then also expand on the events after those films. Because like one of the things we were told was that the last 2 or 3 episodes of Monarch was supposed to lead directly into Godzilla, Kong, the New Empire. In my opinion, that is not true at all. If anything,
No, it's not.
it more so led into Godzilla vs Kong. But I really hope that they don't skip over these other MonsterVerse films that they can explore the lore in. So what I would like to see in season 2, 3, and beyond is to take the time and show us the back in the day stuff more, and like they did in season 1, but also include that with Skull Island, and then also what's happening. Maybe bring in Jonah and his group and start introducing them as a ecological terrorist group or whatever. And you could start exploring them and fleshing out their backstories a little bit. Maybe how they figured out Ghidorah is in Antarctica, and it could lead into King of the Monsters, and then season 3 is the after effects of all of these titans being let out, and the devastation on the world and the battle with Ghidorah, and so on and so forth. And then season 4 is the lead into Godzilla vs Kong and the after effects of that, and season 5 is the lead into the New Empire and the after effects of that, and so on and so forth. That could flesh out the mythos of all of these movies. Season 2, we could start to see the very beginning stages of Mechagodzilla being built. That would be cool. So,
okay. Eric?
Yeah, I mean,
name somebody.
I agree. Like it's basically just filling all the gaps, really. I mean, it's all the stuff that we haven't gotten. I mean, I think a lot of the stuff that they left untapped is on purpose. It leaves the door open for them to go down those rabbit holes and do those kind of, I mean, we could go back and see what happened to Kiko for her 56 or 7 days that she's down in Axis Mundi. I mean, we could do that. We could, I mean, obviously, I mean, look what happened with Lee Shaw. He left himself behind. What's happening when he's down there?
Yeah.
What's he experiencing? Like, there's a lot of stuff that they can, I mean, they really left themselves open to a lot of stuff to explore. I mean, and we haven't even touched the Hollow Earth yet. I mean, yeah, we might get a little bit more with the new film, but like, I still think that's just the tip of the iceberg, honestly. Like, there's so much they could do, and there's just a lot of potential, honestly. And just, I mean, I agree with Joe, just a lot of connecting the dots with a lot of these films, filling these things in so they make sense and all that stuff. And then, like, a lot of newer fans could come into this and watch all of this, and it all makes sense and stuff like that. And then just like discovering more of the Titans, maybe the outposts, why they have to, maybe there are some good Titans, maybe there's some bad Titans, whatever, it's just a lot of that stuff, it's a lot of possibilities. And of course, I want to see more Kiko, with what's going on Skull Island and stuff like that. And obviously Lee, what happened with him and stuff like that. So just, like I said, fill in the gaps.
See, I would love to see. Do you guys remember that Monarch timeline that was made to promote Kong Skull Island? On their social media platforms, they posted 2 timelines of everything from 1946, like the major events from 1946 to 2017, which was where they alluded to Ghidorah and Godzilla. And there was like the Siberian incident, which they talked about Siberia. So like that would be cool for them to go back and explore that. But like the smog of London and just stuff like that, like they have clearly ideas that they could expand upon. I mean, Awakening is no longer in canon, but like, what if they brought the Jinshin? What if they brought that the
Jinshin Mushi?
That's Muto Prime. I'm trying to think what the monster is in Aftershock. Shimura, yeah. Like bringing that back, or like Jinshin Mushi, like somehow bringing that in, or just taking these comic books that have been slowly removed from canon since day one, and like just take stuff like Lee Shaw is from those comics. He's a comic book character now brought into the actual universe.
Yeah, I mean, something you could take the whole storyline of one of those comic books and just retool it to a different year or a different whatever.
Mm-hmm. You know? And just do that. Just explore. I want to explore more of pre-2014.
Me too.
That's what I want. I think there is plenty to explore during the 2014 to 2019 gap.
That's what I'm most interested in. I want to hear some mythos pertaining to Ghidorah and Mothra, Rodan, like instead of it just being like, oh, there's Rodan, oh, there's Mothra, oh, there's Ghidorah.
Yeah.
Now, speaking of all of these other movies and whatnot, how does Monarch compare to the rest of the MonsterVerse for you guys? And we're gonna start with Samson.
I didn't even answer the last question.
Oh, you didn't? I thought you did.
Y'all skipped over me. I was waiting to see if anybody noticed. That's cool. It's fine. Not that important.
Then you can do both.
Okay, it's cool. It's fine. Yeah, we need a little bit more pre-2014 because I mean, they kind of the movie did just immediately leap into Godzilla. Like, oh my god, and what everybody else is saying. I want to see what happens in between because now they're in 2017. And do the movies actually, are they continuity wise? Like, does Godzilla King of the Monsters take place in 2019? Is it actually 20? Okay. So between 2017 and King of the Monsters, I would like to see what leads up to that because the beginning of King of the Monsters is just like, oh, we know that Mothra exists. We know that Ghidorah's. Let's get a little bit. How do we find Mothra? How do we know? Let's have some more involvement because the Titans, they know Titans exist, and let's have some more involvement with how they locate and know that these Titans are there. It's like, oh, whatever, they're hibernating, so we're not going to worry about it. Let's get a little bit more between that. And Eric kind of stole this. I want to know what happens to Lee since he left himself behind in the Upside Down or whatever it is, the other world. Let's see if, Stranger Things. Yeah. Let's see if Kiko. God, I cannot land her name now. She has to be worried about him. Like, let's go back. We have to get him. He got left behind. He may be old, but I still love him. Maybe. And let's see if they go back and try to get him or something. Pre-2014. Let's see what happens between 2017, 2019, King of the Monsters, and let's see if they go back and get Shaw from the other world.
Okay. And then Samson. How does Monarch compare to the rest of the MonsterVerse for you?
How does it compare? It has its high points and low points again. The pacing wasn't my favorite. It's kind of hard to compare that because comparing a lengthy TV show to movies is it's difficult because they have a lot more time on their hands to do the show than movies can cram into an hour and a half, 2 hours, 3 hours. I do love what they did, especially the young characters, not the young modern day, the older characters in the 50s and 60s. It was really great to get a lot more involvement with Monarch. I think it holds up to me more than the first 2014 movie. I think the Monarch series does a better job than the entirety of the 2014 movie. Even though there's not as much monster action and stuff, I still really enjoyed what they gave us and the story that was presented to us through this series.
Okay. And then Michael, let's hear what you have to say, I guess.
Everybody
You
wants to.
guess. Oh, I know. So this is how does it compare to the rest of the MonsterVerse, right?
Yes.
Okay. I actually like Legacy of Monsters better because I think I like how Legacy of Monsters fleshes it's paced better in my opinion than trying to cram a bunch of, like Samson was saying, like trying to cram a bunch of stuff into King of the Monsters, trying to cram a bunch of nonsense into Godzilla versus Kong. And I love nonsense, don't get me wrong, I love nonsense.
Oh yeah.
But so I like the pacing better than in Monarch than the rest of the MonsterVerse, and I think that's because it's a TV show, not a movie. And like you said, Samson, you can do more with 45-minute episodes than trying to cram something into 2.5 hour movie. I think the writing is a little better for Monarch. Sorry, I was itching there. I think the writing is a little bit better in the Monarch TV show than some of the other MonsterVerse films. I still think that the best overall film in the MonsterVerse is Kong Skull Island.
Easily.
I think Elijah, you and I actually agree on that. The best overall film in the MonsterVerse is Kong Skull Island. And I would say the writing in there is like in terms of the movies, I think the writing is the standard for the MonsterVerse in Kong Skull Island or whatever. I feel like I'm rambling because everyone else has given like really good answers, so I'm just going to shut up now and say it's. I think it holds up well.
Okay, and then Adrian, what's your answer?
That is a good question. Like you said, it's kind of hard to compare the two, especially since we actually got kaiju action in the movies. But might be my second favorite property from the MonsterVerse. I think owned behind King of the Monsters for me. And again, y'all know why that I love the story. I love the story, the story of this show. So that's why I have it ranked so high. It may even overcome King of the Monsters one day after we watch it too. But I'm going to say for me, it's the second best thing we have in the MonsterVerse.
Okay, Joe.
It's hard to say how it fits because I feel like Monarch fits more with the 2014 Godzilla and Kong Skull Island than it does with Godzilla vs. Kong and King of the Monsters, and I'm assuming the New Empire too. But I think it's really enjoyable. See, I'm a fan of the MonsterVerse. I understand that it's obviously not what was originally planned. I feel like what was originally planned was what we just got with Legacy of Monsters, where it was supposed to be more centered, more grounded, a little bit more science fiction instead of science fantasy, or if that makes sense. But I'm okay with what we're getting. To me, it's fun. So I don't. It's not my favorite, but it's it's not my least favorite of it either. So I just enjoy it. I don't know. I can't really rank it. I guess I can't say that it's my favorite or my least favorite. It's there, and I enjoyed way more of it than I disliked. Let's put it that way. So,
Eric.
Yeah, this is a tough one. So to me personally, it's hard to get over the kaiju action because I mean, let's face it, that's why we're fans. It's not because of the characters, a human aspect. It's not that. It's the kaiju. It's the monsters. It's the fighting. That's what drew us in as kids and now. So like when I think of these movies, I immediately go to the fighting or the kaiju action because it's hard to get around that. So yeah, this has a lot of, not a lot of Titans and stuff like that, not a lot of kaiju action and stuff, but it's still a very, very well done show. And it's exactly what it needed to be. Because like I stated before, like the title of the show was Monarch Legacy Monsters. I knew exactly what I was getting. I knew exactly what I was getting into. I had an expectation of what we were going to get, and they did it. I wasn't expecting a lot of kaiju action, a lot of kaiju and stuff like that. It was going to be about the actual company and everything, and the backstory and the lore and everything. Like I get that, but like comparing it to these larger than life blockbuster movies where they don't have time to do a lot of well flushed out characters, because obviously the main characters are the kaiju. Like, let's be honest, it's not the humans, and so they focus on that. They're not focusing. The humans are always secondary in these movies, so they don't always do a good job in that aspect. We're developing these human characters. So as in kaiju action, it's very low, but as in character development as characters and enjoyability for human characters, it is the tippy top. So it's hard to rank it over the other ones just because it is so different. But overall, if I had to rank it, it would be my number 4 out of the 5.
Okay. Speaking of ranking, Eric, lightning round question. We're going to go in alphabetical order. So, Adrian, you got to take this answer first.
Okay.
Rank all 6 MonsterVerse productions from best to least.
Oof.
Said best to least, right?
Yes.
Number 1 to number 5.
King of the Monsters, Monarch. I'm switching between 2014 and Kong Skull Island. I guess Kong Skull Island, 2014, and Godzilla versus Kong.
What about Skull Island? Or you haven't seen it, have you?
Yes, the cartoon
Animated.
show, the animated one. Okay, I thought about then that's behind Godzilla versus Kong.
Okay. It would technically fall to me next. For me, it goes Kong Skull Island, best MonsterVerse movie. Monarch is a close number 2. Monarch was pretty good. I overall think it is more good than bad, and I enjoyed it. Then number 3, we have Godzilla 2014. We start to get okay. Godzilla King of the Monsters, it's getting pretty bad. Sorry, Adrian. And then we have the disaster, the epiphany of the Godzilla franchise. We have the worst thing to ever come out of this franchise since 1998. It only makes sense that it has the same writers, Godzilla versus Kong. Eric?
Oh, Jesus, help me. Take the wheel.
All right, so number 1 to number 6, right? We're doing 6.
Yes.
All
I
right,
haven't
so
seen Skull Island, so I skipped that one.
Okay. So the best film out of the MonsterVerse is Godzilla X Kong. I'll fight you on it. Then it's Skull Island. Then it's King of the Monsters. Then it's Monarch. Then it's the animated Skull Island. And then it's Godzilla 2014. Joe?
Okay, so number 6 for me would probably be Skull Island. Number 5 would be 2014. Number 4 would be Monarch. Number 3 would be Skull Island, Kong Skull Island. Number 2 would be Godzilla vs. Kong. Number 1 would be King of the Monsters. If I'm being honest, with a caveat here, Godzilla vs. Kong is the best visually out of all of them, I think. Well, that and Skull Island. Kong Skull Island is very good. But I mean, Ghidorah is my favorite of all time, and the fact that we got a big budget American Ghidorah, that's enough points to put it in number one. Michelle, I mean Mike.
Okay. So number one, the best movie in the MonsterVerse is Kong Skull Island. It's the best movie in the MonsterVerse. Number two, Godzilla vs. Kong, just because it's fun. It's a hoot and a half. It's visually appealing to me, and I love me some nonsense. I love it. Love me some nonsense. After that, King of the Monsters, of course, because Ghidorah, Rodan, Mothra, all that stuff, because Michael Daughtery gave us nothing but just fan service, and you know what? I'm here for it. I don't care. I don't care what people say. After that, it's Monarch. After Monarch, it's Godzilla 2014. After 2014, it's the Skull Island TV show or the Skull Island series, because I just didn't like that one at all. And I just hurt Elijah's soul. I can tell.
Samson, save us.
I didn't see the Skull Island TV series, so I'll go in order.
You're good.
I'll go in order. I'll go from favorite to least. So, yeah, Skull Island the movie, phenomenal film. Next for me is going to be King of the Monsters, because the homage to all the fans and everything. It's just a visually fun and stunning film. After that, I'm going to go with Godzilla versus Kong, because that's a block or a popcorn flick that I'm a big fan of. That just a big lizard fights big monkey. It's fun. After that, we're going to go with the Monarch series, because it's really good, but rewatchable wise, I don't know how often I'm going to rewatch it. It was a good time. The story was great. And then lastly, Godzilla 2014, because I reiterated earlier that I think that Monarch did a better job than the 2014 movie did. So the 2014 movie goes to the bottom of the list.
We got Oscar here at number one.
Yeah. Good taste. Good taste.
Hey,
Welcome to the group.
Welcome. Now, I know.
Kong.
Oh,
I
know. Leslie's prepping for his show in just a little bit. So,
Yeah.
So I'm going to speak for Leslie. I'm going to go ahead and just speak for Leslie. If that's okay. Can I speak for Leslie? Am I allowed to do that?
No.
Okay, so I'm going to speak for Leslie anyways.
You're not black enough, so let you do it.
I'm going to speak for Leslie and say Leslie would say Kong Skull Island because he loves himself some Kong. I'm going to say that Leslie, he loves himself some Kong. He does.
I know he does, but I think
that's for sure.
X Kong.
Maybe. Oh, so you know what? That actually sounds like that sounds like more like Leslie. Godzilla versus Kong is number one in his opinion. Then we've got Kong Skull Island in his opinion.
Yep.
And then we've got King of the Monsters in his opinion.
Yep. Keep it going. Keep it rolling.
And then I would say likely the Skull Island TV show in his opinion. Would you say? Or
Right?
He doesn't really watch a lot of cartoons. I don't know if he's watched it or not.
Maybe not. You're right. So I can't speak for him if he's not actually watched it. So we're just going to move that one to the bottom of the list because the Skull Island TV show is hot garbage anyway, so we don't care about that. And I know Leslie don't care about that because Leslie has good taste. So after Skull Island, I would say King of the Monsters because Leslie's a lot like us. He loves that fan service, loves it, loves him some Ghidorah. And then Monarch is somewhere in there too, obviously. But obviously, speaking on behalf of Leslie P. Chambers at Leslie P. Chambers Kaiju Unboxings and Reviews, I'm going to say that his favorite MonsterVerse movie is Godzilla vs. Kong. And
I second that. I really do. I really do.
I do. I believe that with my whole heart.
Too.
And when he goes back to listen to this, he's going to agree.
He's going to agree. Yeah, he is. And Helmy, thank you for giving your opinion. He thinks Godzilla King of the Monsters, Godzilla
Welcome,
versus
Helmy.
Kong, Monarch, Kong Skull Island, and 2014 last.
All very good
Mhm.
order, very good
Mhm.
ranking.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I have faith that none of us here are snobbish when it comes to the MonsterVerse, right?
See, the thing is that before we close out this, I would just like to say
Okay.
that most of us are just fans of the film. Like, we don't
That's
go
true.
into them to nitpick them and really dissect them. Like, God, this is bad. They should do this. They should do. They just sit back like us and just
Good film.
let
Some
their
of-
mind melt into this great genre.
What kind of
that
obnoxious
is
person does
kaiju
stuff like
and
that, man?
Godzilla. Like,
I
I love that stuff.
I can probably sum this up even more and just say some of us, I would say most of us, we just appreciate fun, and we just appreciate things for what they are. And more Godzilla is not always bad Godzilla. And
That's true.
and there are films out there that are more artistic, I would say, or have deeper meanings, but they're no better than, say, a schlocky hour and a half worth of of giant lizard, giant monkey, punchy. They're no better than that. They're no better than that at all.
I mean, some of us on this stream have lived long enough where we've gone through the dark ages with the Godzilla franchise, where we just didn't have anything coming out. And
Everybody
now-
in this call has done that. Everybody in this call went through that 10-year gap. Everybody in here.
Yeah, but some of us are older and really suffer
Did they
through it.
really? Did they
Yes.
really?
Everybody
I
was
would
mature
think that.
at that, though, I feel.
The
They didn't have
the
mature level of intelligence to be able to understand and grasp that concept.
the majority of the people in this call are old enough to drink, and so therefore we understand better that sometimes it's just better just to have fun and just go with the flow, and things don't have to be serious. So what if Godzilla versus Kong doesn't have the best CGI in parts of it? So what if the plot is nonsense? And so what if the human characters get pushed aside for Godzilla, for giant lizard, giant monkey, punchy? Like, who cares about that? Hang on, Elijah. I know you agree with me, but hang on.
Yeah.
I know you agree with me, but hang on. I don't have a clue who in their right mind would ever think different than that.
No,
And
I mean, if they're a real fan,
That's
and
true.
everything, they would
That's
really
true.
just consider this
According-
as just the
Our-
kaiju boom and
our-
everything, and just
our-
live for it.
Our great Lord and Savior Michael Daugherty summed it up best when he talked about being a true fan.
You know, and it's funny you say that because Michael Dougherty specifically said that every Godzilla movie, and a true fan would understand this concept. Every Godzilla movie has deeper meanings, and every Godzilla movie has metaphors about what's going on in the world. And what's funny is Adam Wingard then said, none of this makes any sense. It doesn't really matter. It's a giant monster movie. So, by that definition, Adam Wingard is not a true fan. Godzilla vs. Kong is not a true Godzilla movie. It is hot dog water, and he is about to repeat history again with Godzilla Kong, The New Empire, featuring King Louie and White Godzilla.
When you say he's about to repeat history again, do you mean make another most successful Godzilla film in history?
Oh, it's because it was of COVID. Come on.
Come on. It brought it back. It brought people
And
back
what-
to the theater.
Yeah, and you want to know and who
Oh,
acknowledged it after 2 months? Everybody forgot Godzilla versus Kong did anything for the box office.
and Elijah, why does it?
No,
why
that's
did-
not.
why-
Hang
why
on,
did-
hang on. I'm not buying that at all, because you know who didn't acknowledge it? It was Hollywood and their insiders. Hollywood are propagandists. Hollywood have agendas, and if you're not part of their it crew, then you don't get recognition. Look at all the actors, actresses, sound people, technicians, whoever, directors, writers, etc., that have been passed up when it is clearly the best film or the most popular film, doesn't win an award, looks like utter nonsense, and I, for one,
Can't wait
will-
for it.
Fuck, absolutely. but here's the thing. Here's the thing.
I acknowledge GXK. I
How-
acknowledge
like,
GXK.
To me, people in this fandom that sit here and say this isn't real Godzilla and get butthurt and have posts taken down or incite other people to attack somebody or whatever because they're making a joke about something or they'll
Reach.
they have an opinion that's different than yours. Like, I think that's the stupidest thing in the world. Can't we enjoy the serious, amazing film that -1 was and is, as well as the silly, fun, turn your brain off, adventure, sci-fi, fantasy films that have become the MonsterVerse? Because I, for one, I didn't say it earlier in the video, out of respect, but I'm going to say it now. I'm tired of being fucking lectured to in my movies and in my TV shows. I sometimes just want to watch something that doesn't tell me about who's running for president or what's happening in the real world. I don't always want to hear about the next war or the next president or why this president's bad and this president sucks and this and this and this and this, or why I should hate this part of America or that part of America. Sometimes I want to go and watch a movie where I can actually remember a simpler time when we all got along and we were all like, oh, really? You liked that? I didn't really, but I thought this one part of the movie was really cool. Now it's I don't like this, and I'm a real Godzilla fan because I'm a Showa fan, or I'm a Heisei fan, or I'm a Japanese Godzilla fan. It's nonsense. It's stupid, and we should all sit back and realize that we're arguing over giant monsters that don't exist.
They exist.
And
Exactly.
I'm sorry, but like I sometimes don't want to always be preached to or told what is a real. And Elijah, for the record, I am not actually talking about you. I'm talking about somebody else in this fandom in particular. That I don't want to be told that, oh, you're not a real Godzilla fan because you don't like the cinematic genius that is this. Don't tell me that I can't
getting told that 54, if you don't think 54 is the greatest Godzilla film that ever exists, and you say, and I fed off of Michael, he had the greatest opinion of all time when he said 1954, excuse me. It's boring. It's not the most rewatchable movie because it's boring.
And you know what? To me, Samson, I have a different. I like 54. I could watch it. I find it fun. I personally like the 1956 King of the Monsters more than 54.
Oh, I love that one. That's actually that's fun. But watching the original 54.
But guess what? But guess what? I would never be like, you hate 54. You're not a real fan. To me, if you're calling somebody not a real fan, in seriousness, I know we all just did it in jest, between Michael and Elijah. Again, that's not what I'm referring to. But if you're actually saying it and then rallying your people to attack somebody in the comment section, go fuck yourself. Acknowledge.
I mean, really, the best way to kind of end this discussion is shut the hell up and enjoy these Godzilla movies, because very soon we'll be in another drought where we're not going to get any Godzilla content whatsoever.
Yep.
So let's just shut the hell up and enjoy the ride as we can.
Turn your brain off, have a good time. That's all. That's what it's all about.
If you smell what the Adrian is cooking.
Yeah, it's meant to be fun. Like, I just enjoy it. I can enjoy it. There's not a single Godzilla film that I hate, including 98. Because I just pretend that it's not Godzilla.
That's what Elijah said. That's what Elijah says about GAVK, is he just pretends it's not Godzilla and then goes about his business.
Well, before we get off here, talking about true Godzilla and true fans, I think all the true fans should do the most noblest of streaming traditions and link themselves. So I'm going to start listing off people, and if you are a true fan, go ahead and link yourself. If not, then I guess That's you saying that and not me. We're gonna go in alphabetical order again, or we'll go in alphabetical order again. So, Adrian, you're a true fan. Link yourself.
Oh, I see what he's doing now.
Yeah, I did.
I was confused. I was like, "What are you talking about?" Now I get it.
Godzilla Chain 1090 on YouTube and Instagram, and of course the Monsters with Attitude, Collectors of Kaiju and Tokusatsu Facebook group.
Okay, I'm gonna skip myself. Eric, if you're a true fan, link yourself.
Oh, I wholeheartedly am a goddamn true fan, and I don't care what it is. So, find me on Bearded Kaiju Unboxing Reviews. I do unboxings and reviews for toys that I get and everything. So go check me out there. I just passed the 650 subscriber mark. So I have a giveaway going to be happening this weekend. I just made the video for it. So sorry for the delay. That is coming out this weekend. And on to bigger and better things for there. Obviously check me out here, Monster with Attitude, and the Facebook Monster with Attitude Kaiju and Tokusatsu Collectors Group.
All right, Joe, if you are a true fan, link yourself.
You can find me at Kaiju, Buried to Kaiju, and where I also review Godzilla stuff. I'm the rudest, crudest way to see Godzilla, Power Rangers, and other Toku properties reviewed, unboxed, and ultimately collected. I say rude and crude because I don't edit. I don't know how to edit, and I don't have the time to learn how to edit. Hang on, keep that up because I'll read that in a second. I review things like this. My most recent video, I did the Mondo Rodan that came out. It's a lot of fun stuff. And obviously on the Monsters with Attitude Kaiju and Tokusatsu Collectors Group on Facebook. Obviously subscribe to our channel here. Subscribe to my personal channel, Monarch Kaiju. And Okay, sorry. The fact that Godzilla X Kong exists doesn't take away the fact that -1 exists. No one is taking away what you like. Yes, Rob! Thank you! Yes! Son of a bitch, you're the best ranger of all time.
And replaced it with an even better ranger. Anyway.
Michael.
Hey, Michael, what do you got to plug?
What do you have to plug? If you're a true fan.
This show, obviously, because it's the greatest, most wonderful, most fantastic show on the internet, where we just get together and just bullshit about giant monsters, obviously. And then the Monsters with Attitude, Tokusatsu, Kaiju and Tokusatsu Collectors Group. I hope that got the name right. Outside of that, not a whole lot going on. Just hanging around in the DMs and in the chats and all the things, because I don't have much to do these days after Kaiju Ramen. After I retired from Kaiju Ramen. So yeah, maybe I'll get into something. Maybe I'll start a brand new show where I just give all my opinions unfiltered.
Michael, would you want to start a Power Rangers podcast where it's like two guys and we're traveling through history? It could be like a 2-man power trip, and we just revisit a new season of Power Rangers every episode.
Honestly, Joe, that sounds exhausting, and I just don't know if I have the stuff. I just don't know if I have the stomach for it.
Yeah, I hear you.
Michael, I dare you to name your new podcast the True Godzilla Fans Podcasts. Samson, if you're a true Godzilla fan, link yourself.
Am I? I don't know. Well, I'm Samson West, and I'm also Samson West on YouTube. And as it says underneath my name, I'm Samzilla Streams on Twitch, where I stream games. But not only that, my entire streaming channel is dedicated and revolves around the Godzilla. It's Godzilla themed as hell. So I'm not completely stepping away from the Godzilla-ness, even when I'm gaming. So yeah, Samson West on YouTube and Samzilla Streams on Twitch.
Okay. Then we're going to have to wrap things up here. So, Michael, can you ask me the question to link myself?
Elijah, the truest of true fans in existence today.
The truest of all gatekeepers.
The truest of all gatekeepers. The one who will surpass all others and become the next Kaiju cast. The one who is currently in the running for being the best podcaster within our small, very small circle of friends. Elijah, please link yourself.
Glory,
that's not
hallelujah.
what I was expecting, but we'll go with it. Hello, I'm Elisha, and I have kaiju and tokusatsu problems. Joking aside, I am Elijah Thomas. I co-host the podcast Kaiju Conversation with my co-host and good friend Rex. We cover the wide world of tokusatsu, from kaiju and giant monsters to henshin heroes and J-horror. You can find us on any podcast platform and find us on social media outlets like Instagram, Facebook, and Twitter at kaiju_converse. I'm also a writer. I've written for GodzillaMovies.com. I've appeared in Kaiju Ramen Magazine, and currently I write for Kaiju United. Most recently, actually, as of today, my Gamera History on Home Video article got republished with an updated conclusion, so definitely check that out. My writing has also been featured in the book Giant Bug Cinema, a Monster Kid's Guide from Bear Manor Media, where I wrote about Ghidorah the Three-Headed Monster. I'm also a filmmaker and YouTuber. You can check out my stuff on my YouTube channel, ET13 Productions, where you can see some short films or older YouTube videos and a playlist with all of my appearances on it. I've also appeared in a kaiju movie, a little-known film called Zillafoot from 2021. I made a cameo in the film as Skywatcher number 2. So it's got a rating of 3.7 out of 10 on IMDb, so you know it's got to be peak cinema. So you can buy the Blu-ray on srscinema.com or the DVD from any online retailer, or just watch it for free on Tubi or on Prime. As a new addition to my linking, Titanic Creations is releasing a young Gary figure that I got to help get the license for. So please stay tuned for all of those updates for young Gary. I can't wait for people to finally get their hands on it. So there's that. And you can also check out my action figure photography on my Instagram at ET13_productions or my Twitter account at the same handle. And that's all I got. Next time there will be one more edition. So
Wow. That was a lot.
Jesus, I thought Nathan's was long.
And with that, I think we're going to wrap things up here. So thank you all for tuning in and interacting with us. And thanks to the whole panel for being here and chatting up Monarch, Legacy of Monsters.
See you guys next time.
And of course,
Embrace
Embrace
the attitude. Thank you.
Attitude, folks.
Later, guys.
Bye,
See ya.
guys.